my God. Did you guys do your homework?
Kind of.
Because we have a very special episode, don't we? It's
the updated power rankings podcast after our preseason power ranking.
In the middle of the game round 8.
This is the most stupid
very
decision.
Logical.
Before the Panathinaikos and Olympiacos game, which might change some things because Gytis was apparently changing his power ranking after yesterday's game. So...
Yeah, because one of the teams, they were on a 4-game losing streak, but they just beat someone by 20 points, back on top, back at number 1.
It's Europe, we're irrational, emotional. That's how we act.
So you just changed your power ranking by putting Milano not in 15 but 14?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Basically, that's what happened.
Very important adjustment,
They beat the finalists of last year. That's insane.
Oh,
and that was a great win, actually. Milan was beautiful to watch. You won't believe it, but Milan was beautiful to watch. And somehow I ended up watching the game, and I really enjoyed it.
You're talking about this game, just this game? What are you talking about?
What was the Milan roster in 2010 that was beautiful to watch?
I don't know, but maybe they were beautiful to watch.
When Milan was beautiful to watch.
2020
Delaney, Chacho times.
That was.
Chacho was in the building. Maybe that's why he brought some nastiness.
Chacho or Mike James. Donatas had a very interesting comparison in the group chat
too, right? Kyle Korver was there, I think.
Tell them.
So Donatas posted this photo of Chacho Rodriguez in our group chat yesterday, and he's like, low key, Chacho is similar to Mike James.
Looks-wise?
Looks-wise, yeah.
Mike,
that photo, that photo,
I'm going to put that picture.
Mike, if you're listening, please tweet something, because this is ridiculous.
No, if you take a look, basically, I'm not sure if that was Mike or Chacho.
Well, maybe you're blind now.
Okay, guys.
Right.
Olympiacos, Panathinaikos.
Oh.
What about that?
What about
the game?
Prediction.
What's your prediction?
That will go sour or very old real fast. It will age like wine, not like wine. Usually wine is fine. Like milk, very quickly.
If you're guessing it right, then
that's true.
And by the way, we are going to talk about that game with Gytis immediately after the game. So tune in to see our reaction
today in the evening. We'll.
So you're gonna post the video right after the game.
Right away.
Amazing.
Right away.
Friday night, that's amazing.
Predictions? My prediction is Panathinaikos are going to win this one.
Same. I feel like they lost the Greek derby in the domestic league, so now I feel like that's their. Did they lose? Wait, what am I talking about?
Panathinaikos won.
Panathinaikos won. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I got it wrong. Sorry.
Man, we have
we were talking about Bartzokas. The journalist in Greece. I think we're talking about. Is Bartzokas, should he needs to be replaced, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I think Panathinaikos have the upper edge. They're playing in Oaxaca. Olympiacos haven't won a game away, I think, this season in the EuroLeague. So it's a huge factor. You can't ignore that. PAO playing in Oaxaca is a different beast. They have 3 wins in a row in the EuroLeague. I think they are... They're strong. They know their system. The new guys and the old guys, some of the old guys like Juancho are playing well. And I don't think they're going to lack motivation and energy for this game, and especially defensively. At the start of the season, at some games you could see they're kind of relaxed because they're just coming after the one championship. I don't think they're not going to miss that in the Greek derby in the EuroLeague. So I think we're going to see a good version, a really high quality version of Panathinaikos. And Olympiacos, to me, so far in away games haven't really convinced me. In Peace and Friendship Stadium, it's a different team, but so far in away games, I still have questions about Olympiacos. What do you guys think?
I think Panathinaikos haven't played at home for a while. As in, they only played 2 games of their EuroLeague games at home so far. So I think this is going to be a lot of energy. Of course, the occasion is big. The Greek derby always is in the spotlights. And I expect a very close game at first. And then I expect sort of a break at some point for Panathinaikos to break this game, because I feel like the intensity that is going to be between the players themselves, the motivation they'll get from the crowd and the occasion, I think that will play a big part. And I think it's just going to be like an energy win more than anything. I think we'll forget about the tactics and systems in a sense in this game.
Although I'm intrigued to see what Bartzokas will do regarding the tactics, because I watched the second part of Olympiacos Panathinaikos game in the Greek league, and like literally in almost every possession it was the same for Panathinaikos. You force a switch on Vezenkov and you play one-on-one, and they just killed them this way, and Olympiacos just couldn't score, and that's it. That was the story of the game.
But that's funny because Olympiacos do that in every match, and basically every team could do the same, and some teams that are more adjusting their scheme in each match, for example, like Žalgiris or Fener, they do that against Olympiacos every single time. They know they're going to switch with Peters or Vezenkov. They force that switch, and Pana attacks that from perimeter. Fener tries to attack the little guy inside. And basically, it's one of the, I would say, number one thing on the scouting report that teams show and remind to players, that they switch with a position 4, and we can have an easy target, Vezenkov or inside. So I have not seen an adjustment from Bartzokas regarding this particular thing you mentioned in a long time. And
the problem is that you cannot not to play Vezenkov. So
no.
It's like you're gonna live and die with Vezenkov being attacked all the time. So I don't know. To me, Olympiacos was not very convincing in the last game, and now Panathinaikos, they're playing at home. I expect bigger game from Slukas. He had average numbers this season, averaging like 6 points per game.
He's getting up there
because
now.
His time to show up is at the playoffs and at the Final Four, not now. But since this is a big game, EuroLeague, the highest staged, first game at Oaxaca in this new rebranded Oaxaca, I think that he will show up and will have a way better game. And I also predict Panathinaikos taking this one. So we have a kind of a one-sided prediction.
And that's what our partners URBONUS say.
So actually it's 4-0, right? With Rabona.
What do you mean 4-0?
I mean 3-0.
Three
we
guesses
all
for
three
Pana.
pick Pana, and Rabona joins us.
4-0. Yeah, they see them as favorites at 1.55, whatever.
It's not necessarily.
Huh?
We don't need to mention the numbers.
Doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, it's just
police is coming,
Police?
Police is outside the door waiting for all these
FBI open
numbers to be mentioned and then to kill our podcast.
Just said a random number. Anyways.
Rabona picks Pana as favorites as well.
Yeah.
So shout out to Rabona, our podcast partners.
And have you noticed, by the way, guys, that the EuroLeague have like 2 commentators this season
for key games,
for rivalry games. And tonight, I think they're going to have also 2 guys. And I think that's I don't know. Do you like this upgrade from the EuroLeague?
I mean, it should be
because
for every game.
I love it. I love it personally.
That's the minimum for a high quality commentary.
Exactly.
Really. That's what we do in Lithuania.
And it also just like reveals or sort of not explores. What's the word? What's the right word? It takes out of those commentators more, or gives the commentators are able to give more than what we're used to, because we're used to just listening to one voice, and there's like just a monologue always. Monologue.
A lot of play-by-play.
With this dialogue, there's some jokes coming in, like a different vibe watching the broadcast with 2 commentators. I really love it. So,
and it's basically when you're doing that job alone, it's such a hard thing to actually watch the game, to then check the stats, to see what's happening on the court, maybe with the refs, with the replays, with the challenges and all that stuff. So when you are 2 and when you're actually on site, because they're doing it on site too, like not from London.
Yep.
So I think that's a huge upgrade and a really nice addition for the EuroLeague.
Before we start, any hot takes from the last night? We had Lonnie Walker making his EuroLeague debut. To forget. 0 points.
It was 0 points. -9, I think. PIR.
Of 8, I think.
Of
-9 -9 PR.
1 assist, 12 minutes.
It was sort of like when I sometimes play my career on the NBA 2K and I start the game and I have upgraded my player to 90 overall. He's really good. He can shoot, he can dunk, he can pass everything. And I go into the game and I'm kind of like lazy that day. I start playing and I see the first shot didn't go in because I forced it up. The second one, maybe I held it for too long, didn't go in. Then you keep pressing the X button to get the ball from the teammates, the CPU teammates. So it's exactly what was happening. He got some shots off. He still was like getting the ball, even though he doesn't really want the ball anymore. Then he gives the ball away. Then he gets the ball back again, shoots some shots again, misses badly. All of them, I think, were kind of long. So maybe the shorter three-point line is a factor, but. Generally speaking, got a teammate grade of D- and got subbed out for the rest of the game and just said, okay, I'm not playing this. Skip. Simulate to next one. I'll play the next one.
But don't be fooled by that.
Of
game.
course, I mean, I'm just hyperbolizing the situation.
I know. But he just looked. I can understand. Probably the game was going at 3x speed for Lonnie Walker. I mean, the guy just landed on Sunday in Lithuania late evening. Probably still has jet lag issues because going from west to east is way more challenging. Then you practice one time individually, practice one time with the team, then you fly to Germany with the team. You have a game, everything is new, starting lineup. Andrea Trinchieri tries to maybe, not to put you in the spotlight, putting you in the starting lineup. Teammates are looking for you because they have seen what you're capable of in the NBA. And there's like, at one point, it was like Lonnie Walker is playing the pick and roll. He does not attack, passes the ball to the side because he's like, nah, I'm going to take it, chill.
Team
player. And the guy like Giedraitis just passes it back to him because you have a switch. And this is like,
you're the best paid guy on the team. You do the job.
and it's, you could see that so obviously. I mean, Lonnie Walker jumps to pass. Butkevic is not in the corner. He's cutting. They don't have the teamwork. Walker passes to Giedraitis, pass to his legs because of he expects him to cut at that time or just he's not in the rhythm. So yeah, Walker was put on the spot and didn't really deliver. But from what I saw, I mean, from the scale, from what I saw in the NBA, I still think he's going to be great for Žalgiris.
Hopefully. I've checked the debut experiences of some of the better EuroLeague guards that we had. For instance, we had 3 guys coming off the NBA who made the all EuroLeague team, first or the second last year. So Kenan, of course, is the most popular choice.
He joined also in November, I think, last year. Something very similar.
Yeah. So he had 6 points on 0 of 5 3-point shooting and 4 PAR against Alba Berlin. In the second game against Žalgiris, he had 0 points and played just a few minutes. Wade Baldwin had 2 points, 1 of 3 shooting, 3 turnovers, and -4 PAR when he made his debut in Olympiacos. Lorenzo Brown, 3 points, 1 of 4 shooting, 2 turnovers, 2 PAR. So all of these guys were on all EuroLeague team. They were coming off the NBA, of course. A different experience. Kendrick Nunn was the highest profile player coming from the NBA, but still, that's a reminder that, let's quote Zaza Pachulia, nothing is easy. So nothing is easy for even the high-profile NBA guys coming to Europe. Evan Fournier also had a tough. You like that one?
This reminded me of Sylvain Francisco doing the this thing. Whatever.
So yeah, Evan Fournier also had a rough start. 5 points on 1 of 3 shooting, 0 PR. So yeah, it will take time, and then we'll see.
Yeah. Otherwise, round 8 so far. I feel like. Have you seen the Coen brothers film "No Country for Old Men"? One of my favorite films. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like EuroLeague could do their slogan, not "No Country for Short Guys," but there's a continent for short guys. Because that, like, last night We're talking about these 6 foot and under guards, or 1.85 and under. Edwards, 24 points. That insane half-court heave he had that he made. And actually sort of killed the momentum Žalgiris had to make a comeback. Then Francisco, of course, 20 points, 16 of them in the fourth quarter. He had 4 points until that quarter and made the comeback possible. And at the end could have bring Žalgiris back to even tie the game. Then Carlik Jones, again, 20 points, double-double, almost a triple-double. He had 8 rebounds and 10 assists and 20 points. And then you could even add like Isaiah Kanan or TJ Schwartz, maybe 13, 12 points, whatever. But also had crucial, Hiffy, although I don't 17. Know if he's that short. But
he's 185.
Okay, so he fits the same parameters. I mean, all these guys dominating. Thank you, NBA, for letting them go, for thinking they're too short and making the EuroLeague so much more beautiful to watch.
You mentioned Francisco's fourth quarter outbreaks. Thank God there's this amazing database on bbelytics.com, and I've checked the fourth quarter scoring leaders. And Francisco actually leads the EuroLeague. He scores 7.4 points in the fourth quarter on amazing shooting. 63% from 2, 59 from 3. Carson Edwards is second, 6.4. Shaq McKissick, shout out to Shaq, 6.2. Tariq Biberovic is surprising one on this list with 6 points. And then Carlik Jones, 5.6. Saban Lee, 5.2. And so Shabazz Napier, 5.1. So, yeah, some interesting stats for today. Okay, let's begin with the power ranking. We're going to try to make it a constant segment of our podcast every month, I guess.
Maybe not like, every month and
every
a half.
few months, maybe. The point being that we have to have updated power rankings. We identified the issue that when we do only preseason power rankings, they get outdated really fast. For example, last year, Olympiacos added Kendrick Nunn about this time of the year. And the prediction that they will stay at the 10th spot would have, went up, for example. And the same we can do this season now, just to have updated ones every few months, like we said, and also with a different approach. Usually on this podcast, there's a lot of chaos. When I'm not here, when you 3 guys, you're always doing power rankings in a very messed up way, I thought.
When Gitas is there's always no chaos. Everything is so right on time, structure.
It's not about that. It's not
clear.
About that.
Okay.
You guys,
continue, my friend. Continue, my friend.
I have Bayern at 15. Oh, wait, I have it at 13. And then we don't know what we're talking about. Why don't we use technology of 2024 and use, actually, we just said artificial intelligence. Maybe you just do the job. And we didn't input anything, and we'll see what they got for us. But that's not the actual. That was a silly joke. Actually, what we did was enter our own power rankings, all 3 of us, and of those entries, there's going to be an average that was calculated, and we don't know what's the power ranking. That's the fun bit. I think I need a holiday, guys. I don't know. Maybe you got any suggestions what I could do on my free time?
Holiday.
I need a holiday. I don't want to work hard or anything like that. Any suggestions what I could do?
Do you want some active holiday?
Or no, I would like to just stay in bed, do nothing, maybe like be next to a pool, something like that.
Where are you taking us with this one?
I'm just asking. Maybe. Oh, wait. You know what? I changed my mind. Now that I saw that there's Baltic basketball events, I'm so hyped up to improve my game with a basketball coach and start shooting 3-pointers.
I've heard you're great at 2K, but you should improve your reality skills, because you know what we have coming next? The Journalist Cup.
Oh, shit.
We have to defend.
16 days away.
You better sign up for the...
And we lost one key player from that team.
Key is a big statement, He was not that great.
We still got the MVP of the tournament.
Who I believe went through the Baltic basketball events camps to be the second best player of our team that we had.
Although it's happening in Kaunas, one of the more attractive EuroLeague cities, but there's people coming from different countries like Belgium, China, Finland, Sweden, Norway, England, Turkey, Brazil. and other delegations.
Yeah, wow, they worked with delegations from over 50 different countries. So they have so much international experience of hosting such events. They also co-hosted some events with FIBA. And I mean, it's natural because they offer the full package, not only trainings, not only individual practices with the coaches, but also foods, hotels. They take care of you, and they might even take you to some EuroLeague or EuroCup games that are happening here in Lithuania. So there's a good chance that you will be able to witness some Žalgirio Arena greatness during your stay with Baltic basketball events.
And mostly we're probably talking not about situations where you guys telling me to go to this camp, but children who are seeking basketball careers, this is probably the best place for them to be. Although they do these packages for even amateur teams or normal like professional teams,
youth players. That's the best thing about Baltic basketball events. I suggest visiting balticbasketevents.com, or you can use our link in description below to get more information about the qualities that they offer. And we're gonna live and die with these power rankings as a team, probably. So that's also a fascinating part of that.
And guys, how do you look at power rankings in general? Let's identify what that is.
One more time, because again, everybody thinks that it's a prediction for the season. The power ranking that we had, I mean, I genuinely believe that 80% of the viewers or listeners thought that we're predicting EuroLeague spots, not even for the regular season, but potentially for the season finale and Final Four. So that's why we actually had to emphasize what do we mean about the power ranking at this point. So we kind of all agreed that it's about the current level, quality, and results that we had in the first month, but also it's a combination of the general team status, strength, upside, potential
to finish in a certain spot in the standings.
Yeah, so let's say we have Žalgiris and Bayern leading the standings right now, but I believe that nobody picked them on the top of the power ranking that we have.
But it's sort of like thinking about, okay, with the potential matchups they'll have in the future, with what they've shown so far, where would they stand right now if they played the same exact kind of a game they played? That's how I look. Like, I would look at as the standings if those teams were playing as they are right now at the end of the regular season. Something like that. Like, it's not exactly that, but it's something like that in my eyes at least. So yeah.
Okay, let's check what we got.
Should I open up the
when you do a power ranking based on 3 opinions, there might be some shocking stuff. Because
I think for number 1, number 2,
if somebody decided to be, brilliant, creative, it might hurt the.
Well, you said brilliant, you meant for me, and creative for you, because that's how usually we do on this podcast.
And stupid for me.
With this power ranking, I try to make it as not creative as possible.
Okay.
Because that's the problem that we have when we put this BasketNews power ranking on our website. Then you check the results and you see like Žalgiris 3rd or 4th place, and you're like, okay.
But that's because, why? Because Lithuanian journalists put them up high?
Probably.
Okay.
Let's go?
Well, let's go anyways. So, number 1 spot, no surprises, PAO Athens is right there. And have we all put them at 1? Because I did.
It does not show for you that
average place. It doesn't show me
place.
who put what where, but it shows the average, and the average is number 1. So I am assuming it's number 1.
Yeah. Right. I had them at number 1.
Okay.
So why? Pana.
Do you have number 1 them as well?
Yeah.
It's just because those 2 losses, what I saw, again, I'm going to repeat myself. I just think the champions are allowed for some hungover, for some games that they are not 100%, even more that it's a team of coached by Ergin Ataman. So you are going to see some games where they maybe are a little bit too relaxed. So they have a couple of new guys to integrate, but as I mentioned before, I think with each game they're doing better. They have played only 2 games at home, which makes that 5-2 record even more impressive. And looking long term, I just think they have the best roster to actually go back to back. So I'm looking like at that 5-2 at the same time. Like 2 losses is the least losses in the league after Žalgiris lost yesterday. So,
they lost to Madrid and Paris.
Yep, both away.
Well. And they won 2 games against the 2 teams listed in the top 5.
And it's, when you have Kendrick Nunn, when you have Lorenzo Brown, when you have Kostas Lukas, you have Jedi Osman, when you have Matthias Lezor, Omer Yurtseven as your backup, Juancho playing way better than he did last season. It's just hard for me to pick someone else for number 1 spot, really. When their only problem is basically their energy sometimes and their defensive effort. How do you guys think?
What was interesting to me that, you mentioned Juancho. I think he's a big spark for the start of this EuroLeague season, and I think that he will be very important guarding Vezenkov as well in tonight's game. And that's the main thing. Now Juancho is more effective on both ends, so you can keep him on the floor more, which I think he's the best matchup against Vezenkov defensively as well. And for instance, his stats for the start of the season is almost 11 points, over 54 shooting from all angles, 5 rebounds in 24 minutes. And for instance, the last year, in the first 7 games of the season, he was scoring only 4.5 points, 5 rebounds in 23 minutes. So it's a huge boost. And Juancho's on an expiring contract. And if he keeps playing like that, I mean, Ataman for sure is happy. And
Flash.
I mean, he's already flashing.
Flash.
2.1 or 2.2 per season is already flashy, I would say. But let's say he's on track to stay at around the same number that he had for the season. And guys like on a honeymoon, Kostas Lukas, 6.7 points in 18 minutes. Chedi Osman, though, is worse than I thought, 5 points per game in 15 minutes. Regarding Slukas, I mean, as I mentioned, he's gonna show up when it matters. And with these teams like Panathinaikos, some others, it's not about being flashy at this point of the season. They're building for the playoffs, for springtime, for the Final Four. So you have to be patient, and you cannot overreact regarding some individual performances or just in general the quality of the game that they all produce.
Yeah, I would say to add to this Lucas point, he had a different role last season, to be honest. Some games he even started. He started 15 out of 34 games last season. This season he only had 1 start so far, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be starting. It seems like Ataman has him as this playmaker off the bench for the second unit in pairing with Yurtseven. So those numbers are reflective of that. Plus, he's now picking it up a little. I think the last 3 games, maybe he's scored in double digits. So the numbers from the first few games are pulling that average down a little bit. Jedi Osman, of course, like you said, another untapped potential there. We expected a bit more, but at least as a defensive presence, he's there. As a scoring threat, not yet. Not maybe hitting all the shots that he could. In terms of another untapped potential name here, I feel like Mitoglu is underperforming at the moment. 3.5 points, only three rebounds. I mean, last season we remember him as the starting 5 beast.
He was one of their best players in the first half of the season.
Also because Juancho wasn't performing as well as he is right now. So that's, you win some there, you lose some on the other side. And I feel like we should say that Marius Grigonis also, who's struggling with some back issues right now, also was a vital scorer last season, especially in the regular season. A lot of plays were drawn for him to hit those off-ball screen 3-pointers. And this season, 3 points a game. And
I think that it was also part to the fact that Kendrick Nunn was not on the team, and it also took time for him to adjust. Now, I'm not sure if they need the scoring presence. They also had Lorenzo Brown, I would say, successfully replacing Luka Vildoza. So I'm just worried about Grigonis. He will miss at least 1 month or 1.5. It's a back issues that he had before, and it's Ataman's team. He picks his rotation after a first couple of months, and then it's really hard to get back in. And I checked the stats, and 11 guys are playing more than 11 minutes per game, but usually he uses 8-man rotation. So for Grigonis, with this competition in the backcourt and the perimeter players, it's going to be tough.
But it could be the reverse situation of last year when you're playing a playoff series, something's not going right, and you have this X factor of putting in and this luxury of putting in Grigonis into the game. And maybe he'll change the game some
like
way.
Papapetru last year in the playoffs
the
against
opposite
Maccabi.
happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you, that's the privilege of the deep bench, deep roster. And although some, let's say, roles has changed, nothing really changed about Matthias Lazor. And what's interesting, his minutes actually reduced. Last year, he was averaging 30 minutes per game in the entire EuroLeague season. To start this year, he's averaging 25. But the funny thing is that his efficiency PAR has increased. He's averaging his career high 20.1 PAR per game. He's scoring well, not as much as last year, but it's solid 13.6 points per game. He tied his career high in EuroLeague average of rebound 7.1. So it's interesting to see these dynamics because he's also on an expiring contract. And from what I hear, he wants to get paid. He wants to be in the same tier as Kostas Lukas and Kendrick Nunn. But also there's the NBA on the other side, and maybe some other potential suitors in the market for his free agency. So it's going to be interesting to also track his season this year.
So at this moment, do you guys see them finishing number one in the standings when it's all said and done at the end of the regular season? Or because at the moment, for me, it's obviously between the first two spots, but I feel like they are number one at the moment.
To me, it doesn't really matter if you finish first or second. It's all about getting the home court advantage.
It's actually even worse. It's cursed.
Oh, yeah.
Number one spot is
cursed. Do not finish first if you want to win the EuroLeague.
Maybe finish second for Panathinaikos is a better choice. Should we move on to the second place, which is also kind of obvious, but surprise, surprise, in this ranking, I see their second, Olympiacos Piraeus, but the average is 2.33. So which one of you
put them at third place?
Which one of you didn't put them at 2?
So if you are saying that, it means Donatas.
Oh, okay.
Because I picked Fener.
Fener at 2?
Shadows fanboy, huh?
Yeah, first of all.
Looking long term, bro. Huh?
Second of all, I mean, I don't like the quality of their game, but I just cannot ignore them winning 5 games this way. And let's say Olympiacos ends up losing the game tonight. They're 4-4. And Fener, they are playing Asvel, I think. So they should be 6-2.
We should now talk about Olympiacos since the consensus is their second.
Okay,
right?
Sorry.
So I don't know. For me, 1 and 2 was interchangeable. I mean, you look at the record, sure, it's 4-3 right now. But the games they lost, I thought they could have won easily. They were close games. They had the lead at some point. They lost at the end, but even the first game against Fener, the other 2 games they definitely could have won. The first game
Bayern,
against
Sasha Vezenkov missed 2 frees in the last minute.
So I'm not looking at it in the plain numbers. I'm looking at how the game looked and how they were controlling some of these games that they lost. So for me, they could have been 7-0 or at least 6-1. Okay, 7-0 is a bit of a stretch because the first game they did lose.
They definitely did not look as a team to go 7-0, I would say, like this. We
true, but I'm just saying...
the games were close.
Yeah, the games were close, let's say. And yeah, obviously those 2 losses puts them down a bit. But, we can also say that at times, this Olympiacos looks like the classic Bartzokas, off-ball movement, passing. They're, I think, leading the league in assists, if I'm not mistaken, or at least are second. In there. But then there are some games where they're struggling with shooting, just like last year, even though they added these capable scorers in Evan Fournier, But still struggling with that, with the Thomas Walkup, sometimes struggling with turnovers. Those issues are still there present from last year, I feel like, sometimes. So it's hard to say, but for me, long term, looking at this team, I feel like they're capable of even reaching the first spot in the standings.
To me, they're second just because of their depth that they have, because of the names that they have. I think they're playing better with each game, just like Panathinaikos do. Integrating Evan Fournier, Vezenkov that is back, Dorsey that is back, Luka Vildoza that is new to the team. That's not easy when you have a strict system that Bartzokas has. But I think they have more weapons offensively. And one super interesting fact, we all know their defense is great. But just one interesting fact about Olympiacos is that at home, when they play at home this season, they allow 95 points per 100 possessions, which is number 1 in the league. And that's like crazy good number. Away, they allow 125 in 100 possessions. And I remember the game of Žalgiris against Olympiacos. I don't know the rims in Piraeus, and I forget every time to ask the players that we sometimes meet in Kaunas, like, is there something different about that? Because the way I see games in Piraeus is that you have to make a swish there to actually make a shot. Because if you shoot a layup and it bounces off the rim, it goes back from the rim to the board and then bounces out, and that's hard. That's a hard shot to make. So I know it's only been it's a small sample size, but they're playing away today against Panathinaikos, and I wonder which Olympiacos defense we're going to see.
And they lost all 3 games away, actually.
Yeah. Against Bayern, they lost against Anadolu Efes and Fenerbahce. I think
Madrid is 0-5 away. Wow.
We're going to talk about Madrid, but about Olympiacos, definitely
they're just releasing the air in the ball. They put flat balls for the warm-ups for the guys, and then they changed the height of the basket.
Don't joke like that, because they'll actually write it out like Lithuanians.
The real reason behind Olympiacos' home court success: flat balls and the change of height of the rim.
But I like this Olympiacos team. I think they addressed their issues, and I think this could be their year. This could be their year. Looking long term.
Evan Fournier was the talk of the town. What do you think about his start in the EuroLeague so far? 11 points per game, 47% from 2, 35 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 7.6 PAR.
Didn't we speak about it last episode that he's finally getting his rhythm in, right? So because before it just felt like they were trying to figure out how Evan Fournier will fit into the system. Fournier was actually taking some crazy shots, let's say, like some wild shots for Olympiacos standards.
Exactly, not the shots that you are used to see in Bartzokas' team. Like he was still playing like he used to play in France, because he was not playing much, in the NBA in the last couple of seasons. But he's getting into the rhythm. He's getting into the system. He's finding easy layups, just as Olympiacos do. And sometimes it's weird actually to see like Olympiacos play offensively, and there's like the defending big so high on the 3-point line. Like you're not used to seeing that, because you used to have Walkup, Kanan, and guys usually don't go high above the 3-point line. Like with Fournier, some guys do the hedging defense, and I think that opens up a lot. And Shaq McKissick is having a wonderful year. He's brought his playoff shape to the start of the regular season.
Not sure if that's a good sign for Olympiacos, actually, because you need him in the playoffs.
Hey, but they have more weapons for the playoffs. It's not only him that can play one-on-one anymore.
A guy who we all were thinking maybe he's even going to get out of the team, because what minutes he's going to play. He's the second leading scorer in the team after Sasha Vezenkov with 11.4, being a bit above Evan Fournier, but playing 4 minutes less. And it's not just about those points necessarily as a number, but just the energy plug that he is. It's like, he can change the game. We spoke about this last episode as well.
Just right about Fournier. In the last 3 Olympiacos wins against strong teams like Efes, Madrid, and Barca, he was scoring respectively 20, 8, and 19. And when we're talking about the adjustment in the team as Olympiacos, it's really hard to adjust in this well-oiled machine. And especially if you don't perform in the given minutes, it means that you might be on the bench for the next 10 or 15 just because of Bartzokas' rotation. So I like the part that he tries. He's being patient. He's being very curious. I love the story about him texting the assistant coach at 2 at night just to ask him about some screen, how he should handle that situation. So to me, the start for Fournier is better than I expected. Let's check how he gonna adapt long term.
Okay.
What's the final product of Fournier for the playoffs and the Final Four will be, which is the most important for Olympiacos. But so far, I was like, okay, he's nice. So who do you have at number 3?
I don't care who do I have.
Who do we have on our power ranking?
The power ranking says Fenerbahce Istanbul at number 3. So you put them 2, we put them both at 3, right?
No, I put them at 4.
That's how you got the average of 3. There we go.
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4.
I picked them over Olympiacos because of their winning record, because of their huge potential, and the fact that they're so far away from that potential, but they're still 5-2. So it's all about winning in the EuroLeague, and then they're gonna figure it out.
But do you like how they play right now?
They won against Olympiacos. That was also one of my reasons. And I would feel bad if Olympiacos lose against Pana. I would feel bad putting a team 4-4 in the second place of my November power rankings. That's the thing. I don't think that Fener is in a better situation to win the EuroLeague in general, but right now, I picked them over Olympiacos. I do not like their game. They're ugly, especially offensively.
Ugly is the statement.
That's what Wade Baldwin actually said about their
second
game.
in second place.
But they're winning games. It's all about winning games for those big teams at this point of the season. They won against Olympiacos, which I think was important. They won against Efes, Maccabi, Partizan. These are solid teams. They lost against PAO by 5. And of course, the Red Star game was a nightmare. And there's a big adjustment that this team has to do, because Wade Baldwin is supposed to be the main figure of this team offensively, but he is in the entire different world. And I've checked the stats. He thrived in Maccabi, which was the fastest-paced EuroLeague team last year. They were also second in transition plays. And after first 6 rounds, Fenerbahce was the slowest-paced EuroLeague team. They were only 13th in transition plays per game and only 13th in offensive rating. So it's a completely different situation. Wade Baldwin is also far from his top shape, but we all know that Wade Baldwin switched his game in the second half of the season. I expect that from the entire Fenerbahce team.
What do you guys think about their center rotation still? Because
Tell me.
I think they will
I have
need
some information, to provide an ad. So I'm just intrigued to hear your
I'm making good questions.
Yeah.
Good questions or assumptions.
You're a good guy, I'm not surprised you're making good questions.
It's the same thing that I said, 2 months ago? 1.5 months ago? Or maybe even less. Anyway, before the start of the season, like that center lineup does not convince me. And a lot of centers of other teams have great games against Fenerbahce. So I think they're going to need to add someone, to cut someone, to actually to convince me that they are going to the Final Four and can contend.
You. Okay.
No, I mean not the Final Four, but just that they are real contenders.
Yeah.
Because the way they play right now, I know it's just a long season. It's early. So many new players. Shara system is not the easiest to get. And for Wade Baldwin, that was for Bonzi. They were playing free basketball in Maccabi. So much movement, quick shots, and now all of a sudden it's a completely different style of play. But tell me what you know about the center spot.
We shouldn't be surprised about their struggles with centers, because that's why they put those clauses in the deals of Kem Birch and Boban Marjanovic. They can be both cut until January. And right now at least, the situation is like that probably it's very likely that at least one of them will have to leave unless they improve their performance.
Who's more likely though? Is there a...
I think that Kem Birch is giving more to Fener than Boban Marjanovic. I expected Marjanovic being a little bit better utilized as the post-up threat offensively and just a bit better rim protector and the rebounder on the defensive end. I didn't expect Joel Bolomboy jumping over his head to get all those rebounds and put him on the poster. It takes time for Boban, because he was not in Europe for 9 years. That's a different speed, different game now. So it's a huge adjustment for him.
He wasn't really playing basketball in the NBA. He wasn't getting the minutes to play basketball.
Exactly. So it's kind of, it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of normal, but time is running out. And if somebody will be available on the market, Fenerbahce might make some moves. The thing is that they took this risk because, I mean, we have to admit, Wade Baldwin and Bonzi Colson were the best players on the market available in their positions as a point guard and as a forward. So it's natural that you have to sacrifice something. They brought Nicola Melli, which is fine. He's playing an important role in some games. And of course, you had to sacrifice the center signing. And from what I heard, they were like advised, they were expecting that at this point of the season, there will be some NBA dropouts. So they're going to sign something, and in case Kem Birch or Marjanovic is not performing, we can make a switch and sign a good center. The problem is that nobody wants to go to Europe from the NBA. I heard that they don't want to go to Europe to that point that they're even agents are afraid of their players advising or suggesting considering European options because those NBA guys want to fire them. So they're trying to stick them in the NBA as much as possible. And the market is dry and there's the high interest in bigs. So it's going to be interesting to see what the market offers for Fenerbahce and if they will find any alternatives or they will have to suffer with Boban on Kem Birch, trying to get in their rhythm.
And just to come back to the backcourt, you were talking about Wade Baldwin. I think we just haven't mentioned this. Obviously, they lost one of their main two ball handlers, Scotty Wilbekin, in the first game. So that, I think, also changed the dynamic of who's going to have the ball in their hands in the game. Wade Baldwin was probably going to have it like 60% of the time. Then Scotty would have the ball. Now it's all Wade Baldwin. Žagars comes in off the bench to provide good minutes, but then, he's still looking for someone to replace Scotty. You got Skylar Mace now. He's
different.
He's very different. He's very different from Scotty. And I just feel like it just messed up with the initial plans they had for the season, and that's why. And also, Wade Baldwin, like Šarūnas Jasikevičius said, didn't play for 4 or 5 months professional basketball. After the regular season ended,
an injury,
the injury he had So basically, you gotta be patient. They are patient, I think, and it's just for me why I put them at 3, even though I would have maybe even considered 4, but because there was nobody more that I'm more convinced about to put at 3, I put them at 3. But generally speaking, they're so unpredictable. They can lose to Zvezda by 20 at home, but then they can win against some of these teams.
And that's the thing that you mentioned. There aren't many teams that are convincing, especially those powerhouses. So that's the problem, and that's why you can mix those teams between 2 and 4. Let's say
easy.
They really do not deserve that place at this point of the season.
Do you think that the level has dropped in the EuroLeague this season?
People are talking about the same thing.
I agree.
But what does that mean exactly in terms of what the players that we have, or how teams are playing currently, or what is it?
I think how teams are playing currently, and of course that has to do with the players. But
haven't we added more talent than we lost? For example,
who did we add?
I mean, Fournier. You can go with. I'll give you some names, but Vezenkov. I mean,
does that change that much?
But who did we lose? Yabusele to NBA.
Yeah.
Who else?
Look how that turned out for Real Madrid.
We'll talk about that in a second. But I don't know. Anyways, let's move on with the power ranking, I think. So,
by the way, I have a question that might be related to some other teams that we have in a power ranking. But what do you think about Mr. Jonathan Motley, his situation, and where he would make the best fit? And do you think that Motley is the guy for Fener?
I was gonna joke that they let him go, but maybe take him back to the team,
like Jordan Lloyd.
Yeah, but I mean, does he provide what they really need, which is defense? I wouldn't say so, right?
What do they need at the center position?
I think they need someone who can shoot and who can defend.
So Melli can shoot, Sertac can shoot.
Yeah, but they're Yeah, but they're
They
not
don't need
good.
someone who needs to shoot.
I think it wouldn't be bad, of course, in a perfect world.
Of course,
but
play defense, shoot, and jump.
Yeah.
That's an amazing center.
Go
But
look,
definitely
go
the-
look in the NBA
but definitely someone
for
defensive.
20
right?
million.
Defensive is the key word here, no?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, of course, the
me,
big
yeah.
guy needs to defend, but at the same time, just great screens, roll, lob threat, Josh Nebo kind of guy, Moses Wright. But Motley,
You're not a fan of Motley.
I'm not a fan of Motley. I can say that. But he's great offensively, but I think from that position, you need more defense than he can provide. You can find offense from your guards, from your wings, anywhere on the court, from a shooter that you can set up plays. I much rather have a rim rolling threat that is great on defense than him for that amount of money. That's also a big part of the equation with Motley. Nothing personal against him.
And, the fact that Sharas let him go after the season kind of shows that he wasn't his type of guy. And now bringing him back is more like related to your situation where you're a little bit desperate probably for a center. And you're making this decision based on desperation, based on
so
this
you're saying there's a chance
situational feeling.
Motley back to Fener?
I mean, I think that's, if the team is looking to strengthen their front line, there are not many teams looking for big in the EuroLeague. And if Motley went out of his contract from Hapoel, I mean, the pool of his career continuations is not that large. So, but I mean, I really don't know if there's a better fit than Zvezda in his situation.
And they're offering currently something, no?
I mean, according to their
something.
Board members, front office people, they didn't offer anything.
Oh, okay.
No contacts.
Okay.
Although the owner of Hapoel Tel Aviv says that they offered him 2.1 or 2.2 million deal.
Okay, guys.
Are you excited to find out who's number 4?
It has to be Barcelona.
It is Barcelona. And on average, it is 4th, but this should mean that someone put them lower than 4.
It should mean that I put them 3rd and you 5th.
I had them 4th.
I had them at 4th.
I had them
I had them at 5th. Sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is then. You put them at 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are 5-2. They have the 4th best offense, 7th best defense. They're forcing the most turnovers in the league. And Kevin Punter is doing his thing. Besides that first game in Kaunas. They have a lot of guys to choose from. Vesely, Chimezie Metu, Yusuf Afal.
Very
of
nice
course,
front court
Laprovitla.
players you're listing here. Very nice, big guys.
4 or 5 of them, actually. That could potentially help other teams way more, like for more minutes. But hey, they're all in Barcelona.
And as we know, front court players are the ones creating the game, right?
What do you mean?
In modern basketball, front court players are the more important than the guards, which...
Do you know Kevin Punter? That there's this
I know,
guy.
and that's one guy we can talk about in Barcelona at the moment, because otherwise you got Nunes off the bench. You got guards, right? But you lost Nicolas Laprovitla, and I think that puts them down for me to number 5 now. Although their results are good, 5-2, right? But I just feel like they're too reliant on Kevin Punter as soon as he's off the court, and even against Olympiacos when he was on the court, but the focus was on him defensively. They're incapable of creating offensively, and that's what is a big problem in my eyes with Barcelona.
And of course, that does not help, but they're looking for reinforcements. And I don't know, their offense... To me, so far, seems kind of okay. You have Jabari Parker, you have KP, you have options at the center to shoot mid-ranges, to post up. Satoransky sometimes maybe can post up. You have nice system there. So
for sure, best offensive rating in the EuroLeague.
Yeah, for sure they need an addition, because long term you cannot survive, I think, with only Kevin Punter. Like, what happens if he gets injured? What if he misses a game or something? But I didn't like what I saw from them in Kaunas, but it was just the first game. After that, they're playing solid basketball.
To me, they weren't like really tested yet. their biggest win was against Efes without Shane Larkin. They won against Monaco, which was probably the most, let's say, the biggest highlight of their season so far.
The away win in Belgrade against
But
Zvezda.
it was like, with all these decisions, 7 correct
But
calls.
you could say that about a lot of games.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about teams that should convince me, and I wasn't convinced yet. But I still put them fourth because it's not the right time to be convinced by their quality.
The other teams did not convince me either.
Exactly.
So
or I just don't feel correct putting Bayern, Paris, or Žalgiris on the top of my power ranking yet. And just to add about Peñarroya. Heard that he gives players a lot of freedom, both on and off the court. Players are embracing it, and they're enjoying playing this freestyle basketball, especially offensively, and it seems like it works. 4th best offense, and you mentioned Kevin Punter. You were right. With him on the floor, according to BBalytics.com, Barca is up by 14.4 points per 100 possessions. So that's the almost highest on and off the court advantage. Alex Abrinas is the first one.
And that's what's fun about these updated rankings is that, maybe in a month or two, when they add someone, if they have an addition in the backcourt, we'll put them on the number 3, or something.
That's why
like
we're going to make it like a regular segment
yeah.
Of our show every month or two. Yeah.
Right.
Who do you have at number 5?
Well,
who do we have
at number 5? I had Barcelona, but we have AS Monaco now.
And I think that's with a lot of room to improve because they are 4-3 and they did not play really great competition. Mike is not playing. Mike is not in top shape yet.
Mike is shooting 17% from 3. I mean, he's not a career shooter. Like, he's not a shooter, he's a scorer, right? He's a volume shooter, let's say. But 17%.
Hey,
I will just say
the thing about Mike, relax with Mike. The guy was coming off a back surgery or injury. Yeah. He wasn't even supposed to start the season in the EuroLeague.
I know that.
He came back earlier, and his spark offensively was huge in getting those first couple of wins against Milan and Maccabi in the first 2 tough games. So it's normal that basically he's still in his preseason. So back off, okay? Back off from my guy.
We're just talking numbers.
Did I say something about Mike?
Although also next time he should attempt a 3-pointer, not a freaking drive into the paint where he gets fouled and nobody calls that foul.
That was a brain freeze.
I mean,
that was a brain frease. We all know that. We talked about that to him like last year when we had this film session.
And anyways, it was a foul. Let's say that foul. It was a foul, and they could have been 5-2 right now.
Exactly,
it would have been very different.
Could have been 7-0 then.
But also,
every loss is because
also,
of the referees, bro. What is this logic?
Also, they could have been 3-4 because they against Partizan, Mike James took on and did some heroics and hit that shot and won.
Yeah,
that was beat Partizan, and there were some controversial calls. So it could have been how it could have been, but it is how it is, and I don't know. So far, just. We are judging a team that is missing one of their key signings of the summer. Nick Calates. Well,
Korkmaz as well.
Korkmaz played a little bit. But Korkmaz already played.
He said key signing.
Key signing, one.
Korkmaz was a huge signing.
Okay, so second best signing because they didn't sign something else, basically. Okay, sorry, Papagiannis. Sorry, there was Papagiannis as well.
Right.
Sorry for that. But
and the problem with these signings, or with this one particular, that Nick Calates might be out for a while, and we're talking that he might return only in December, end of December, and having in mind that it will take time to readjust the entire game because there's a whole different dynamics with him and Mike on the floor. That's not something this team was used to playing the last few years. So, that's another big challenge in front of them going forward. But of course, an advantage. I mean, he will upgrade the team.
Do you like watching Monaco games? Honestly now. Okay, Donatas. Honestly.
I mean, when they made their first 3-pointer in Kaunas...
In the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left.
Exactly. And they're the worst shooting team from 3 in the EuroLeague, 29%. So I cannot enjoy that product.
And a team that plays a lot of isolation basketball without sharing the ball.
They play Jaite and Motiejunas in the front line at the same time. How can you love that game?
Exactly.
I'm sure Rytis would find some arguments how he loves still watching this team.
It's nice to watch Mike, to watch Ellie, to watch Lloyd play one-on-one. They are talented players. It's nice to see that, but flow-wise, continuity-wise, how they move on the court, they barely move on the court offensively. And so their defense is and they're making like 9 turnovers only. That's a ridiculously good number, but that's because you're playing so much one-on-one basketball. So
they also probably are last in assists, if I'm not mistaken. So you're saying
15 assists per game, not that bad.
No,
second to last.
Second to last.
not that bad.
Because there's always worse. Not that bad.
Probably Alba is the last, but
Alba's sharing the ball.
Assists, my bad. Anyway,
team number 6.
I had Žalgiris at 6. So
I also had Žalgiris at 6, and you must have had him at 7 or 8.
6, my friend. 6. I kept them 6th.
How are they?
Nice.
How are they 6-3-3 on average? Like they're 6.
Okay. There might be a chance that I flipped them with Bayern Munich.
Oh, there we go.
I have them 6 on my nose, but there is a chance.
Okay.
Gittes, where are Bayern in that list?
7th.
7th? That's a nice discussion, guys. I have a question. Who do you believe more long-term, Žalgiris or Bayern?
Defense.
Exactly.
Žalgiris has defense, but we're talking about November power rankings. We just saw Bayern winning this game against Žalgiris. And sorry, guys, but Žalgiris is also not convincing. 4 of their wins came with not more than 3 points. They could have easily lost this game against Virtus. Milan, this wasn't supposed to be a victory. There are a lot of some other couple of games that they
Monaco,
had.
You could add to the list.
If Mike James got fouled by the referees in the referee's eyes, 2 free throws, they lost the game. So
that's the game.
It's
Dunstan,
not convincing to me yet.
Dunstan's
and there are some
game winner
facts like Bayern just winning the game. That's it. Although I believe in defense, and there's a lot of potential in Žalgiris with Lonnie Walker, with a lot of guys underperforming, with Ignas Brazdeikis, Smailagic getting more minutes in the future. Brady Manek has to step up. I mean, they might be better in the end of the regular season, but right now, I can. To me, it's not fair to list them
to what
head above Bayern Munich.
It's not head above. That's why I think they're interchangeable, right? 6 and 7.
Yeah, that's why
you then put them. You put them 7th. We put them 6th. Obviously, due to the standings a little bit and the teams they beat. But yeah,
where do you have Bayern?
At 7, probably, right?
8.
8.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I just look Žalgiris and Bayern at the same time. Or I think we're doing those teams both at the same time. What you mentioned, Žalgiris is not convincing. Yes, but they're not going to be beautiful. I think they're going to be a defensive team. They're going to keep teams at a low number, and they're going to just survive games. All of their games have been close. They had a chance to actually win all of those games. Like even yesterday, I don't know how, but they stayed in the game playing terribly.
After
terrible basketball.
Horrible first quarter.
Horrible first quarter. Horrible shooting night. The defense was not up to the Žalgiris standard that they showed so far, but they somehow still managed to have a chance in the end.
Somehow. Olympiacos
Exactly.
Also.
The game in Piraeus and the game in Munich for Žalgiris, I see them as so similar. Two games that went in almost exact same manner. For Bayern, I don't know how long you can keep hitting off the dribble threes at that rate. And just their defense yesterday, it was good just because Žalgiris offensively have no spacing, but a front line with Johannes Voigtman and a backcourt of Shabazz Napier and Carson Edwards, I just don't know how far you can go with these guys defensively.
Defensively, yeah, but offensively, you said off the dribble. 3-pointers, that's one part, but also I like how they move the ball around, how they set the screens, and they have...
That's the Germany national team for you. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah. So I believe Gordy Herbert is overachieving with this team so far.
That's for sure.
For sure. 6-2. They're the highest climber in my... Like, I compared my pre-season power ranking and now, and they are plus 7 positions. Although I have them only at 8th, but I had them at 15 to start the season.
Okay.
So them and Paris are both +7.
And to come back to Žalgiris, one point I wanted to make is about Trinkieri himself, and I'm not talking about X's and O's, his game strategy, but even just the fact that he makes every player a little bit better, like 10% better. Some players 50% better. Last season we saw Birutis. With the other coach, he was just, he was there, but we didn't have a spotlight on him. He suddenly becomes this offensive monster, hitting those push shots, floaters from the free throw line. Then this season we see someone like Giedraitis who becomes a crucial piece of Žalgiris offense and defense. So I just feel like Trinkieri is an X factor as well in a sense where he can make every player much better. And with Lonnie Walker, I just think it will take some time. He's a great motivator, Trinkieri is. So we'll see something interesting there. I feel like what we saw with Wade Baldwin, let's say, in Bayern at some point as well.
Oh yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I believe in Žalgiris long term, but at this point I just couldn't not give credit to Bayern, who won against Olympiacos. We just mentioned Žalgiris being close to Olympiacos. They won against Olympiacos. They won against Madrid. They won against Paris. Somebody can take these wins against Paris for granted. As you see, you cannot do that. So, and they won against Žalgiris, the hottest team in the EuroLeague. So,
becoming the hottest team.
The margin is thin, and I just wanted to give credit to the guys who are actually winning at this moment.
So 6 Žalgiris, 7 Bayern Munich, 8. Your predictions?
Anadolu Efes.
Correct. Anadolu Efes at 8. I had them a bit further down the list. It's definitely surprising for me that Anadolu is 8. I had them at 11, I'm going to be honest. Where did you have Anadolu?
At 9?
At 9. And
7.
You had that's where we get 8, I guess. Correct. Because on average, it says they're 8.67. So very different opinions, I feel like, right? I just wasn't very convinced with their play. I thought in general, they're sort of not clicking so far, although their results are better than I expected, like talking standings-wise. But yeah, I mean, they're good in terms of numbers, but I'm talking about eye test. I'm talking about certain situations where I see inexperience, some things that you didn't expect, like Vincent Poirier not playing as well as you would think that he would after coming from that season in Real Madrid. Roland Schmidt still not in his best shape. I don't know. There are people like Enwara, Bryant, who are probably performing better than we expected, but for me, I'm not convinced they're going to be in the play-in, to be honest.
Yeah, because the biggest win that they had was against Olympiacos. The others were against Alba, Milan, which was struggling badly, and Virtus. They were close to beat Fener, lost by 5, Maccabi, drama at the end of the game, Barca -9. So the performance record-wise, results-wise, was not very convincing, and they also got Shane Larkin out. And he will be out for another week or 2, probably, which means that now they have to survive 3 important games against Monaco, Baskonia, and Madrid. To me, what is interesting that, how the dynamics of the team has changed when Larkin got out, because we were talking about Darius Thompson underperforming a lot. Last year, his start of this season was also not so impressive, but when I counted this game where Larkin actually played against Milan because he played only 12 minutes. So Darius Thompson, the last 3 games with Shane Larkin basically out, was creating 30.3 points per game through scoring and assisting, which is only 1 point shy of the EuroLeague high that he had when he was playing in Baskonia. So, it got back to normal to Darius Thompson without having this ball handler next to him, such as Shane Larkin is, or Will Clyburn that they had last year. So, the numbers changed dramatically because with Shane Larkin at the start of the season, he was creating only 16.5 points per game. We're talking about a huge difference, and that's probably the main thing for Coach Mijatovic, how to make Darius Thompson useful, how to utilize at his maximum efficiency when Larkin is on the court. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but this Larkin's injury is a let's say good situation for Jordan and Wara, Jordan Nora to get more minutes, bigger role to adjust with Efes, and he was performing nicely, 13.3 points. Elijah Bryant is probably their consistent player, most consistent player of the season so far, 13.7 points when Larkin got out. He's on a contract year, and he might be the underrated, let's say, player on the upcoming free agency. So yeah, these were my observations about them.
Elijah is he's in elite shape, I would say.
Maybe best career year so far, no?
In the EuroLeague, I think
Maccabi, yes. I don't remember him playing
but
so
well. He looks just so shifty, confident. I don't know. He
looks so natural. He's not forcing the game.
Exactly.
He's making right plays, right moves.
Exactly. So
off-season work, probably. I mean, because
it has
it's
to
a big
be
switch from last season. Even he was good, but not this good.
It has to be.
Or getting more trust from coach. Maybe that's the reason as well. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just to me, I put them 7th. I agree. Probably I should have rewarded Bayern with the 7th place, but I thought long term. I think like Bryant is playing well. Darius Thompson giving hope signs. I think he needs to have the ball way more in his hands to be, as you mentioned, as effective as he is right now. Shane did not have it's not a long-term injury, so he should be back. Vincent Poirier is getting into the rhythm. I expect more from Schmitz.
Oturu is crazy.
And you have a nice rotation. Osmani, Gita's favorite guy. You have a nice rotation. You still have the number 1 offense, even without Will Clyburn. And they have a little bit better defense to start the season. And not many teams have convinced me, and I just see a lot of guys I just see a lot of guys on this team that are going to be, I think, going to be better as the season progresses. So I see them in the playoffs playing.
By the way, Efes has the best offensive rating in the EuroLeague per Analytics.
Just like last year.
Yeah. Although now they have way more defensive tools to be a better defensive team. Currently they're 11th. So huge upside for them.
Someone else who we haven't mentioned because he was sort of invisible so far, Stanley Johnson. Some big name, let's say, right? Quite a big name in the offseason. He's playing like 5-4 minutes a game, scoring 2 points or
5-4 minutes per game.
Maybe on average a little bit more, but like definitely a disappointing result so far. But maybe that's another player who can add something that we haven't seen. In the future,
win season move for the other EuroLeague teams. What's next?
Next up, you guys surprising me. Next up is Paris basketball at number 9.
Why are you surprised?
There's a team that played in the EuroLeague final last year, and I was expecting them to be a bit higher than.
But they're so bad right now.
I know
that it's so hard.
But their talent, like we said, it's a balance.
But the current performance, especially if you watch the game in
Have you seen that game?
No. The ones that they just lost, I haven't seen. No.
Yeah. So.
But just let's go on with Paris, I guess.
Let's talk about
It's Paris.
I had them at 9th. Did everybody have them at 9th?
I have them at 11.
I think they're going to be a playing team at least. And we have talked about them enough, I think. One of the most beautiful systems in the league. TJ Shorts, Nadir Hifi, just the way they play on offense, like no wonder they beat Monaco because of how different those two teams play.
They won against Monaco, against the EuroLeague champions. Now they beat Partizan, coached by Željko Bradovic, which is always a hard task. Against Baskonia, Alba, they're one of the hottest teams at the moment, actually. So I'm just surprised and delighted by Paris basketball.
I love their team chemistry. Those guys have been together for quite a while. Team chemistry. I love how they play. I love their energy. I love how they're showing off. Like Nadir Hifi yesterday against Partizan made that shot and won, and he's like this for 5 seconds, just watching the crowd, just enjoying.
And let's not forget that half of the gym is Partizan fans, actually.
Exactly. How can you not love that? I mean, they're dancing for like 1 minute in the pregame routines. Then you have like TJ Shorts after that after the defensive play that they made, just hyping up the crowd, and they have something to prove. They want to prove that they are a real deal. And I agree to some players in the EuroLeague saying that they're going to be a tough team to beat. Like if somebody gets them in the first round, they are playing different than the entire EuroLeague, and that's not easy to match up against.
Yeah, I love them at home because I feel like from all the French teams, I mean, we only have 3, but only. We have Paris, we got Monaco, you can call it a French team if you can. And as well, they're my favorite atmosphere to witness on the broadcast because there's a lot of energy. Like Asvel is quite tame. Monaco, I'm not even gonna mention like how how dead of a crowd that is. But they're
not that bad, man. You're inside the gym. They're not that bad.
No, you're paid by Monaco to say this.
Embrace the cultural differences.
They're fun. No, really. I'm not a fan of that. But Paris basketball. A fan in many different ways.
The most threes attempted in the league, 30 per game, but that's not really.
That's the first time in the EuroLeague history actually that we have not one, but actually 2. First of all, it's already a history-making average, having one team shooting over 30 threes per game.
The second is Bayern?
Second is Bayern.
And the 2 new coaches, both that weren't in the EuroLeague last year.
Yeah. Paris 30.4, Bayern 30.3, and I have a fact which shows how the game in Europe has changed in the last 9 years. In the first round-robin system, modern EuroLeague season in 2016-17, 3 teams were averaging more than 24 three-pointers per game. 3 teams, more than 24. What do you think? How many teams are averaging more than 24 this year?
10.
No, 16 or 17.
Okay, 12. But I mean, we're still talking about a significant
half
difference.
of the league, more than half.
2/3 of the league.
I know who doesn't average 24. Monaco.
Mm-hmm.
For a reason. Because just one more time, they don't anybody... Okay, Korkmaz was injured, but... Come on, guys. Vito Brown, the only guy who can make 3. Papagiannis. One more time, sorry. You can make 3s.
Paris is number 9.
Made in
this year, his shot is off. I don't know why.
Paris is number 9. Do you see them as a play-in contender? At least contender.
I said them they're going to be in the play-in.
Okay, cool. So at number 10, we have the 2022. No, the 2022 or 2023 champions Real Madrid at number 10.
Okay. I had Zvezda.
I thought I had Zvezda at 9. I think. I thought that.
So there's
of course there's a hater in the middle, but let's say this about.
You mentioned all the refs and all that stuff, and now you put Zvezda somewhere down low.
Not just 11.
Okay.
So Real Madrid. Where did you guys put Real Madrid? If I put them 8th out of respect to the talent that they have. 11th and
10th.
And 10th. Okay.
Yeah, just out of respect.
Just out of respect.
And okay, winning against Pana. And by the way, they won against Zvezda by 23, so that's why, my friend. That's why.
It doesn't...
And looking
but that Zvezda wasn't a Zvezda that, was...
That Zvezda was without Nedovic and without Bolomboy. Yeah. And without
First
Petrušev.
game without them, I think. So
I'm defending Zvezda. For that loss. I'm defending Zvezda. Come on now.
3 losses in a row for Real Madrid, right? I mean,
hey, as long as they're gonna figure out what to do with the signings that they're gonna have, they're looking for a perimeter player, guard, and also for a big man. I mean, there's still too much potential to ignore.
I heard the market is wide and a lot of players to choose from.
But it's Madrid.
I know.
It's way easier to convince a player to go to Real Madrid
than to Žalgiris.
Lonnie Walker, I heard, chose Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, Real Madrid couldn't offer an exit clause to his contract. So let's be more respectful to the finalists of the EuroLeague.
Look, since the crazy first part of last season that they had, the problems were obvious. You have Madrid is like a one and done team. One shot and they're done. They don't go to fight for offensive rebounds. Defensively, they're not as great. And you have less and less talent with each game offensively. I don't think Walter Tavares has as big of an impact as he's used to be having. So
to be honest, Donatas should check on the Bibalytics exactly what defensive impact does Walter has this season, because I feel like that would be an interesting number to actually.
They have the 9th defensive rating.
Individual defensive rating is.
Oh no, he's talking.
Not that
he brings up those advanced stats when it comforts his statements, and now these stats.
You can check.
I don't know. To me, also, it seems like the chemistry is in there a little bit compared
with
to
Tavares
before.
on the floor. Their defense improves by almost 16 points per 100 possessions, the best defensive rating on the team.
Okay.
You compare with Serge Ibaka. But I was also referencing to offense as well.
10 points a game. I mean, it's okay. Not his prime anymore, but
yeah,
it's okay. But
he tends to start slowly. By the way, just to advocate his case. He tends to start.
Can you advocate for Real Madrid? How they look on the court?
They're terrible. It's not an argument, but since when we're judging teams in November?
I just wanted to say, you guys interrupted me with your stupid stats that I asked to pull up anyways. I thought that it doesn't look the Real Madrid that we are used to seeing with the chemistry they used to have. I just don't see that anymore. And the things like Mario Hezonja criticizing the coach, the fact that Rudy Fernandez finished his career, who probably was a locker room guy for sure as a veteran in that team. Sergio Llull is obviously also in the sort of last years of his career. I'm not sure how vocal he is in that locker room either. And I just feel like there's something not clicking within the team. I feel like there's some frustration with the coach in some ways.
I would say frustration with each other.
Yeah, I mean, did you notice this moment with Facundo Campazzo watching at Xavier Rayton Mace just playing one-on-one? He was like, give me the ball. Rayton Mace was going one-on-one, and Campazzo's like, what is this? Come on.
How to say it?
He probably had the Spanish accent. What is this? Come on.
How to say that nicely? You knew what you were signing up when you signed Rayton Mace. There was a reason he was playing in the VTB league last season. Great scorer, had some great games, impacting games defensively for Real Madrid. But to me, he does not fit the style of Real Madrid. I don't think he's putting team above his own interests. And I don't think that helps the team's chemistry. So 2 stats that stand out to me, they are the second worst allowing free-pointers, like for opponents. The opponents shoot 41% from free-point range, and that speaks to their closeout defense and effort and offensive rebound percentage. They're dead last. That has been an issue starting from last season. That's nothing new. So I don't know. They need guys to improve. They need more talent. They need to outscore teams.
I have a little message for you guys. At the moment, we are 1 hour 20 minutes into the podcast, and we have 8 more spots to talk about, and we have about 15 minutes to do so. 15 to 20 minutes. So we got to pick up the pace a little bit. At 11th spot, we got Crvena Zvezda Belgrade. I feel like you guys did them dirty. You put them down. You didn't look at the game yesterday. Dominating win. No, I'm kidding. Alba was an expected win, of course. But they broke that losing streak of 4 games. Obviously, all those 4 games, almost all of them were close except for the Real game. I feel like it still will depend. Their potential to make the play-in or not make the play-in will depend on who they sign in that 5 position. If it's Motley, to be honest, Ballon Boy is going to come back. He's not out for the whole season. So this team is going to move around the power rankings, I feel like quite a bit in my opinion. The potential we saw in the first 3 games that they have with full roster. They beat maybe not the teams that are impressing us too much, but they had some games where they could have won also. So for me, I feel like 9th, 10th, 11th is an appropriate range for them.
Yeah, I feel like they are a plain team. I'm still not that hyped about their offensive potential, but defensively, I can see that team being above average. Great when Bolomboy is back.
Yeah, they need Bolomboy back. Petrusha will get better. He will fill this gap that we were talking before the season, and this center signing might also change things. Although we have to give credit to Plavšić, he's using minutes as best as he could. So, but this is important, to win without Bolomboy and this new center. This is a very important stretch for them to have. So
are we moving forward then? Okay, we're going faster this time around. Baskonia Vitoria Gasteiz is at number 12, on average 12.33, so someone put them definitely lower. I had them at, let me just check.
We should focus on what we think about the team now,
12,
I think, because we're short of time.
Yeah, I had them at 12 as well, so that's why.
Amazing.
I don't know, for the four Baskonia fans listening,
Trent Forrest is the guy to watch. He had a slow start, but I heard that recently he's been impressive, and there's the huge belief inside the team that he might be going forward. He might be a standout player. He had 19 points in a win against Barca in the ACB. He had 22 in a win against Milan. He was making some important shots. He has a great size to be all-around guard. So who knows? Maybe Baskonia will bring another over 1 million guards to other EuroLeague teams in the upcoming seasons. But the thing to watch is Marcus Howard's role. And it feels like it's different with Pablo Lasso because he has 13 shot attempts per game, his lowest in 3 years. Although he plays most minutes in his EuroLeague career so far, more than 25, his shots attempt average reduced from 15 to 11.7. And it's just a little bit different of dynamics with this team. They suffer from having the only 16th offensive rating, but defensively, this is one of the most disbalanced teams. Defensively, they're second best in the EuroLeague. The same goes with Žalgiris. First in defense and maybe even dead last in offense.
In offense, yeah.
And it's crazy how much the team has, Baskonia, I'm talking about Baskonia, has changed. Last year, they were unwatchable defensively. They were,
the opposite,
they were second worst. Now they're second best. And of course, it has a lot to do with Trent Forrest being there. There was Cody Miller-McIntyre, TLC, but I think, Pablo Lasso as well. So the transformation is really impressive, but
sometimes I don't know what to think about Baskonia.
Yeah.
Their season so far as well, because they didn't have any convincing wins.
They're not sexy.
Big games. Okay, they won against Madrid and Partizan, but they also lost to Asvel, for instance. So they're not sexy. And it feels like they're missing some piece to be as a glue guy for the team. I like those pieces in all EuroLeague potential players like Marcus Howard, Chimo Moneke, and now we're going to see what's going to happen with Forrest. Donta Hall is great, but it feels like they need some glue guys because they're really raw in some cases, and team-wise, it feels like watching them play, they need to improve their chemistry, but at the same time, we're talking about, I was surprised, they're the second youngest team in the EuroLeague. Their oldest player is TLC, who is 29. So the only team that doesn't have a player over 30. So I don't know.
Who's the youngest?
Kind of explains the situation.
Just to
Alba Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Number 13, we got homeless Maccabi Tel Aviv. Well, they're kind of, they're not playing at home, right?
Oh, surprised.
And they just won against Real Madrid the other round. I don't know. With them, it's like even more unpredictable. To me, they seemed like a team that's going to be 16th, 17th, 15th, maybe at best. Now their record is 4-3. They got some unexpected wins, in my opinion, even against Fenerbahce.
They should have won the game.
They should have won in this neutral court. So
the only game they looked terrible was Žalgiris won. And that's
3 and 4. Oh, yeah, you're right. Not 4-3.
Yeah.
But that Žalgiris game was I think first one after Tamir's injury.
Yeah. So injuries. We're talking about
Rokas
team
Jokubaitis
suffering from
there.
injuries. Now we have Wayne and Gabriel back. I just the thing I love about Maccabi is that they are fighters. They're always fighting whatever they have. They have a lot of interesting, promising future EuroLeague players like Horde, Sabin Lee, of course. Rokas Jokubaitis is improving. So a lot of pieces to like, but just the circumstances, the conditions, they're not in a position to be a long-term, consistent winning team because they play away. They're always injured. So I'm just surprised that how close they are in every game, and they could easily have a better winning record.
I have them at 15th only, to be honest.
Okay, that maybe explains the next spot, which is 14 Olimpia Milano. A team that I had at 15, I think. Until this win against Real Madrid, would you have put them so high above, like at 14?
No.
I mean, they still have.
But we can always every season we can say the same line. They still have great players. They still have Nikola Mirotic, but
they are
still
going to win some games.
Terrible. In their
at some point they have to pull off. So I really think that okay, I don't really think, but I believe, I hope at some point they're gonna click together. I mean, I just loved watching them play yesterday with Neno Dimitrijevic taking tough shots, passing the ball, being that scorer that they need from the backcourt. Then Nico Mannion,
best
I think
game he had.
Yeah, 22 points. Nico Mannion, there was this interesting situation because Nico Mannion is joining the team. And if I'm Neno Dimitrijevic, I think that this is my fault because Leandro Bolmaro is a different type of guard that Messina signed. And Mannion's skill set kind of, matches what Dimitrijevic can offer. And there was the situation during the game. Mannion had a great first stretch on the court. And when he was about to join the team at the second point, he was already on the sidelines to make a substitution. But Dimitrijevic scored in 2 consecutive plays and was really great. And Messina was like, okay, Nico, you can go back to the bench. So maybe that's a much needed inspiration and spark for the guys like Dimitrijevic. Bolmaro also tried hard that game. And finally, there was spark in their offense, moving the ball. Mirotic giving behind the passes. Mannion moving the ball and kicking it out. Dimitrijevic scoring these shots. Zach Lidey, the new Draymond Green of the EuroLeague, making funny plays.
That he was showing up a lot of emotion in this whole game. We should make a compilation.
Only from the fourth quarter, there were at least 5 clips where Zach Lidey was just going wild and crazy. So it was just a beautiful display by this team. And, Shawan Shields is injured. Josh Nebo is injured. So at some point, they're going to improve. And they displayed good level of basketball last night, which is also important in this power ranking.
The worst defensive rating in the league.
That's an issue.
A team that is coached by Ettore Messina has the worst defense, and that does not look good.
Didn't they have the best defense last season or something like that?
They
were among top teams.
Top 3.
Looking long term, it's not a good thing.
Yep.
Right, number 15, Partizan Belgrade. So I had them a bit higher.
Together with Real Madrid, that's the 2 teams that dropped the most, at least in my power rankings, comparing with the preseason.
And we could agree that probably we're talking about 2 biggest disappointments of early season.
With Real Madrid and Partizan? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. Although a lot of games they have been close to winning, even yesterday in Paris, they were 1 shot away. If Lundberg even had an opportunity to tie the game and go to overtime, he missed that in the last second.
had an opportunity to take the lead, actually.
Ntilikina had
it's the second time he missed the 3-pointer like that.
Ntilikina had 3 shots in the last 5 minutes to actually move the game towards Partizan's side, but yeah, they're not finding offense, and they're not as good defensively as maybe I have expected. So
12th defensive rating in the league.
So that's why they have this this record. I don't know how to feel about them yet. Are they should we expect something greater? Like Carlik Jones almost had a triple-double yesterday, but it's just they might need someone else if they can add to actually help. And Isaiah Mike has been injured for the start of the season, so maybe he could unlock. At the 4 position, Brandon Davies showed a couple of good games, but
Dwayne Washington.
Yeah, Dwayne Washington.
But
Three out of the last 4 games, except for the Fenerbahce one, they lost in a very close at the end. Very reminiscent for me to what was happening last season with them. And I didn't know what was the problem last season. They kept losing games at the end.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that hasn't changed is Željko Obradović. Obviously, it would be disrespectful to say, "Oh, Željko, something is wrong at the end of the games with your teams." But I feel like it's just details. For example, against Monaco, we saw some details, some calls. We already referenced those things. Vert is also a very winnable game there. I don't know if it's inexperience we should look at of the team or not, the team not being together for long enough, but there's some kind of a trending thing with Partizan that they lose the end of the games. And they did the same again with Paris.
And you can say that Željko put them in the wrong position. That shot by Ife was great shot, having in mind that he had only 1 second. By the way, I cannot understand. In the second quarter, referees are stopping the game to fix the shot clock from 17.7 seconds to 19. Well, yesterday, the guy of Paris was fouled. I don't remember the player. And I could easily see from just a general view that instead of 1.0, Partizan should have had 1.3 at least, or 1.7, 1.5, something like that.
I guess you forgot who's in charge of the EuroLeague, so it's a Lithuanian guy.
But why he's against Partizan?
He's against ABA Liga, right? He doesn't want ABA Liga.
But there's Bodrog also president. And actually, Bodrog is in charge of basketball operations.
Actually, funnily enough, this whole podcast, we didn't address what's going to be written in the comments. What about the EuroLeague CEO having shares and blah, 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 blah. Do you want to quickly address anything?
We have to, I think.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Do we have time?
No.
I mean, we don't, but
we are the bosses of this office. So we're dictating the schedule for others, for commercial podcasts,
such a long
right?
podcast too.
Right?
Okay, quickly, summary. Is there a conflict of interests in that situation?
To me, it's suspicious. I cannot claim if legally it's a conflict of interest or not, but to me, it's suspicious. And I can easily see why, from what I heard, there are a lot of disappointed and unhappy teams in the EuroLeague by this process, how Žalgiris, let's say Tesonet, Žalgiris, the major shareholder, they took over London Lions, and the Paulius Motiejunas is the EuroLeague CEO. He spent a lot of time in London, and naturally, you can expect them to share some information probably, and that's why it was so disappointing for many EuroLeague clubs, and that's the big issue for the EuroLeague going forward, I think, because one of the biggest strengths or biggest assignments that Motiejunas did in his first tenure, at the start of the tenure, was uniting teams. This thing can, one more time, divide teams until he explains clearly, because from his statements, from his response, I still have questions. Let's say, and I believe that EuroLeague shareholders also will have questions. It's natural that fans has a lot of questions, because this whole movement, it's just weird.
Yeah, I feel like it also comes, in terms of fans, it comes from the frustrations of some teams losing. Also, the referee calls that you and Todd Warnick have.
It's stupid.
So many things add up, and then you start making links between Žalgiris former CEO, now EuroLeague CEO, Žalgiris is on top, and all this.
This is, by the way, where I draw the line. I'm concerned about London Lions part. Him being associated with Žalgiris, guys, EuroLeague shareholders, the GMs, owners of other clubs, appointed him, and they knew, what's coming, and they all knew the situation and his ties with the clubs, and it was never a problem. So this is the minimum problem of all the problems that you can see in this situation.
Okay, maybe we should group all 3 bottom teams into one. I don't know, but we got left Asvel, Virtus, and Alba in that order. 16th for Asvel. I think they rose a bit in my eyes from the 17th spot that was predicted, mainly due to the young players that are overperforming there. Maledon and that
Niels Sacco,
the center, yeah. And Virtus obviously is underperforming a little bit to be 17th and not 16th or
I didn't
15th.
rank them high before the season, and Virtus, Bayern, and Baskonia were teams I was most unsure about how I ranked them. Maybe Zvezda as well in that group. And after that preseason power ranking episode, I thought, man, I was really bad with Virtus. I think that they might be better. But to see them in this situation, sorry guys, but I didn't see that coming.
Do you see a coaching change in any case for that team? Because, I mean, they added Will Clyburn, right? They kept Tornike Šengelė. It seems like the roster kind of improved. Okay, they lost Ife Lundberg, which was a big part of their offense, the guard that was creating offense, let's say. Added Matthew Morgan. But generally speaking, can they be a bit more successful with the Luka Banki, who, as of the second half of last season, has been on a terrible, let's say, streak of losing, really.
I mean,
are you hearing anything?
There were rumors already quite some time ago, that he's on a hot seat, but watching them having this record and not seeing any changes, who knows, maybe they're still undecided, but the whole picture looks bad. I mean, nothing is clicking both offensively and defensively. Offensively, they had the 15th worst rating in the EuroLeague, defensively 16th. So we're talking about, okay, they were close in some games. Bayern -3, Žalgiris -3, Asvel -2. So they could have turned it over, but overall picture is I don't know, is not very promising. Although they have good pieces. Like there are guys like Cordinier who's about to step up. They can share the ball, They have Šengelė as a point forward in their front line, but something is not clicking.
I just don't see offensive potential, honestly. I feel like they're lacking good guard. Like Ife Lundberg's loss was way bigger than I expected it to be.
Bellinelli's,
plus
not
Bellinelli's getting older.
Crazy shape like he was last year.
Hackett also is getting older. Like all these guys that
you cannot put any hopes on guys like
veterans.
Bellinelli, but as now we see, they're lacking of some input.
There is not much upside in Bologna. I would say that neither offensively nor defensively, unless they change something.
Yeah.
Right, and the last spot is Alba Berlin. We all expected it, I think, and we obviously all put them 18th, right? Yeah.
Average margin of the games they lost was 14.4. The only positive that I'm happy about is Gabriele Prochta playing his career game against Zvezda, and this is important because he was coming off an injury. He was trying to force himself a little bit after the injury because he wanted to do everything, but recovery takes time, and it's good to see him flying. He's on an expiring contract, and he's potentially making it to the NBA next season because there will be no buyouts. Utah Jazz holds his rights. They're bad this season, so I think that there's a chance that Prochta next year will be the NBA player. So he will have to use this platform as a good opportunity for playing time, experience, and improving his game.
Next game they got is against Milan. I can't wait for that game.
Wow. What a way to wrap up the podcast. Amazing, Gytis.
No, but honestly, today, Greek derby, let's get hyped again. We got a bit
and
down.
Stay tuned with BasketNews because Gytis and August will
provide
their quick
super expert opinions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wonderful. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Like, subscribe, and everything.